Hi, my name is John Holsinger, and this is my audition tape for the Texas State University Forensics team. I'll be doing two poetry pieces today, one called The Smell of Oranges by J.J. Abrams and Clooney the Clown by Shel Silverstein. I'll tell you the story of Clooney the Clown, who worked in a circus that came through town. His shoes were too big and his hat was too small, but he just wasn't funny at all. He had a trombone to play loud, silly tunes. He had a green dog and 1,000 balloons. He was floppy and sloppy and skinny and tall, but he just wasn't funny at all. And every time he did a trick, everyone felt a little sick. And every time he told a joke, everyone sighed as if their hearts were broke. And every time he lost a shoe, everyone felt awfully blue. And every time he stood on his head, everyone screamed, "Go back to bed!" And every time he made a leap, everyone fell asleep. And every time he ate his tie, everyone began to cry. Clooney could not make any money just because he wasn't funny. One day he said, "I'll tell this town how it feels to be an unfunny clown." He told them all why he looked so sad. He told them all why he felt so bad. He told them of pain and rain and cold. He told of the darkness within his soul. And after he finished his tale of woe, did everyone cry? Oh, no, no, no. They laughed until they shook the trees with ha-ha-ha and hee-hee-hee. They laughed with howls and yowls and yelps. They laughed all day. They laughed all week. They laughed until they had a fit. They laughed until their jackets split. The laughter spread for miles around to every city, every town. From over mountains across the sea, from St. Tropez to Mont-Saint-Denis. And soon the whole world rang with laughter, lasting till forever after. While Clooney stood in the circus tent, his head drooped low and his shoulders bent, and he said, "That's not what I meant. I'm funny just by accident." And while the whole world laughed outside, Clooney the Clown sat down and cried. Each day as I came home, I stepped into the smell of oranges, ripe with its citric aroma on my father's clothes and hands. Memory is often triggered by a sensory input, a sight, a sound, a smell. In The Smell of Oranges by J.J. Abrams, a son recalls the legacy of his father, remembered by a certain citric aroma. He worked in the open produce market downtown, where shipments of berries and watermelons stained his pants with juicy archive, retelling the tale of sweaty, laborious days. He never carried a briefcase or wore a suit. He had no credit card or an expense account with which to impress potential clients. His business deals were notes on a Big Chief tablet, his accounting system in his head. His hands never touched a computer. They were rough and scarred, at home on 10 and 2 on the wheel of a weathered delivery truck. His office was beneath a canopy that was tied to his tailgate, a couple of institutional gray folding chairs set aside for rare breaks between loading and deliveries, where he would tell jokes to passerby. Why did the guy get fired from the orange juice factory? He couldn't concentrate. Hey, why did one banana in the sun say to the other banana in the sun, "Hey boy, I'm starting to peel"? My dad would slap his knee as if he was telling it for the first time. He would keel over laughing, holding his sides. I actually think he thought they were funny. I hated bringing friends over to hear him say, "Wow, it smells like oranges in here." Our home was branded with the smell of fruit, and I was ashamed. Other kids had fathers who played golf and were members of the country club. My dad was a member of the Downing Bowling Club. Other fathers invested in stocks and mutual funds. Our mutual fund was one the mom and dad kept shared in a coffee can on the top kitchen shelf. My mother was merciful. My dad was the disciplinarian. His hands were quick to accost my shoulders and squeeze the truth from me like juice from a ride. I came home from a party late one night and accidentally ran over my mother's prize rooster with our truck. And even though no one had been around to see me, he knew that I had been the guilty one. He woke me from my slumber before dawn and lifted me by my bedclothes with citrus-stained fists, ripping me from my dreams with the smell of fruit. And into his accusing eyes. "Did you use my truck last night?" "What do you mean?" We had hijacked the whole Chevy right after midnight, knowing he went to bed right after the 10 o'clock news. "There are tire tracks in the roadway and a dead rooster in the tracks." "Rooster? What rooster?" Those firm tangerine palms were at my back, prodding me into the yard where I faced the consequences of having the feathers of my honesty plucked. He made me bury the bird and give my mother the bad tidings. "My rooster, my prize rooster," she wailed. "The father to all those poor baby chicks. Oh, the hens will be beside themselves. The all-adored Donovan." Donovan was a rooster. He had a name. My mother had a way of making guilt stick. My father left me to fend for myself, and he strolled slyly out into the yard, whistling and telling consolation jokes to the entire chicken yard. "Here now, Miss Chicken Little, let me explain to you why eggs don't tell jokes. They crack each other up." I remember his hands from another time, when I had my heart broken. She had been the girl of my dreams, and I lost her to the football captain, a real barbarian with a sports car and a pool in his backyard. My father took my face in his amber-coated hands and cradled it gently, cooing, Son, it's all part of growing up. Not one of us goes unbroken into manhood." As my tears melted in the cups of his palms, my eyes closed and the smell of oranges engulfed me. A draught of comfort as his hands held my sorrows and bore me with guidance out of youth. When I went to college, I didn't think much of where the money would come from. I'd hoped it was part of what was owed to me, as I was my father's only son. I had not asked to be born, you know. Parents are supposed to ensure that their children inherit a better legacy than their own, or I had assumed. When I told my dad I'd been accepted on a partial scholarship, he never hesitated. "We'll make up the difference somehow, son. Don't you worry. You just make the grades." I was sure he must have tucked something away over the years, planning ahead for this anticipated day. We never indulged in luxurious living. I never had a new car or expensive stereo equipment, or even a spring break in Cancun, like some of my wealthier classmates. Now, my sacrifices would pay off. It was my mother who finally told me that my father's frequent absences in the next few years were not due to fishing trips or to visit my alien grandfather. He would go upstate to work with the pickers season after season to earn money for my tuition and his own. One weekend when I came home unexpectedly, I found my father sitting at the kitchen table with my mother, his fingers tracing the small print of a textbook near the tungsten glow of the lamp. He was struggling with the words, searching determinedly for the correct pronunciation of each syllable, each layer of denotation and tone. I didn't want my son to get too far ahead of me, he confessed shyly. I attended my father's high school equivalency graduation the week before I earned my college degree. Now, I'm not sure which diploma earned her more pride, but we had a picture taken together to commemorate the occasion. Me in my graduation gown, he in an ill-fitting navy blue suit with a tassel cap of knowledge balanced on his head, still grinning with a blatant sense of humor. "Hey, son," he whispered, right before the flash of the camera. His cupped palm, close to my ear, smelled of the spice of the pickings, fresh from the picker's palm. You know why God made vegetables so easy to grow? Because he wanted peas on earth. Flash. He was slapping his knee when the camera clicked. I got it, Dad. When my father died, the smell of oranges faded from our house, but not the memory. Sometimes my mother would bring home the fleshy fruit and leave it split open in two on the counter, uneaten, undevoured, its tangy aroma hanging in the air, pungent and clean. And I would find myself clinging to the smell of oranges, craving the smell of oranges, inhaling the succulent, sweet smell of oranges. The smell of my father's hands. Thank you.